I don't feel alone. We just settled in and it already feels like home.
You're listening to the Feels Like Home podcast with Mike Throne and Marty Ford. Powered by Horizon. This is big. This is gig.
Oh, Marty.
Mike, we are back.
We're back.
Yeah, it's been good.
And it was beautiful today and warm. It's warm
man,
ish
it was
in
so
the
nice.
basement.
Yeah, it's not
For
bad.
February, I'll take
in the
it.
studio. We'll take it.
So I'm going to make this promise on air now so that way we fulfill it. So our favorite podcast, 60 Songs That Explain the 90s,
Yes.
has completed its run, it looks like.
Yeah.
It's at 120 now.
It's at 120.
So double what they originally started to do. I think we should do an intro or at least a maybe a bonus episode or something of our top 5. Probably nobody cares now that I think about it. But
Well, I mean, we have one listener that would care. The person
true.
who recommended
That's right.
that podcast to us.
So I think we should do the top 5 episodes that we've liked from that and see how that goes.
We probably have a couple that would overlap. We could do it as a draft. Draft
We
your
could
top
do that.
5.
Top 5 60 songs that explain the 90s.
It's kind of foreshadowing our guest.
If you're not familiar with 60 Songs That Explain the 90s, Rob Harvilla, who is an Ohioan, he lives in Columbus. You've probably heard us talk about it if you've listened to the show long enough. But basically, if you like 90s music, you grew up with 90s music, you really need to listen to this podcast.
So good.
Rob is unbelievable.
Fantastic storyteller.
Yeah, and the guests that he has on are really cool. And if you love or hate a song from the 90s, he'll probably have it on at some point in time.
Yeah.
There have been, and to be quite honest with you, the songs that I've hated, I ended up enjoying more because I listened to the podcast episode on that he did.
Right.
You know, and
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
But that run is over now. So,
Got to find another new podcast.
yeah, for real. I've been listening to Song Exploder a lot. And then there was a couple others. I got back into a true crime vibe again for a little while. But I could only hear Keith Morrison from Dateline's voice so much, and then I have to move on. So
I start getting depressed when I listen to some of that stuff.
well, yeah, it makes
much.
me think like there's somebody around every corner looking to do me harm.
Right.
So maybe we avoid that one for a little while. I need something lighthearted and fun. I still listen to Smartless quite a bit.
Me too.
So,
Especially when it's somebody I would like to hear from.
Yeah.
They've had some good guests on here lately.
Yeah. Well, we are excited this week to have on, I consider it a really special guest. So one of the things that we love to do with this podcast is spotlight other local shows that are doing great things. And, we've had on Andy Tomlinson when he was doing his podcast and a few others along the way. And, Clay Archer is one of the guys that is putting together the Ride the Wave show. But it's really a lot, even though it's a local sports show that kind of focuses on high school sports, particularly the Cider Valley Conference. It's really kind of more than that. It's evolved into more than that. And so we're going to really get into that because they've got a big benefit concert coming up. And so we want to let Clay talk about that concert, but then we get into some conversations along the way that get into the sports aspect and, you'll hear it. But he's a great guy. I've really grown to appreciate his approach to what he's doing. And I'm really excited for you to catch some of his infectiousness as well. So we will give you Clay Archer from Ride the Wave Show. We are incredibly happy to have Clay Archer on the podcast this week. I'm going to let Clay introduce himself because I feel like I would undervalue you if I just tried to pigeonhole you as one thing.
I can definitely tell you that there's no undervalue. No, I'm a man of a lot of traits, but recently what I've been doing is starting a show called the Ride the Wave Show. It's a little podcast that we do kind of like you guys, just out of my back room. I'm sure my wife's ready for it to go somewhere else. But we cover local sports. We really, this year, kind of focus on the SVC just because we know the SVC a lot. And then we're trying to branch out to like the FAC, the TVC, Actually, this last Monday, we had on Circleville's head coach, and we had on Vinton County's head coach, Coach Kite.
Mm-hmm.
So we just like to try and shed some light on the athletes around here.
Yeah.
In a fun way. We definitely aren't, boring, to say the least. We're loud. We like to have a little fun. And then, not everybody that wants to just listen into sports also just wants to listen to sports. So we like to try and do fun things. Like we do a draft at the end of each show. Like this Monday, we drafted our favorite subs. We'll have guests on like Dave Shoemaker, or like Brent Bowers. We've had a lot of big guests though.
Both alumni of this year podcast.
Yeah. So we knew they had to be good guests. Here. So but we've had a lot of big guests coming on. Garen Veras, he's been on. He's been great for us. Dante Jackson, alumni of McLean.
That's cool.
Yeah.
He's been really big. Talking about Xavier and just talking about the good times that he had. Anthony Humpty Hitchens was on.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we had Ben Hartsock on actually a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I knew Ben a little bit as like a kid because we went to the same church together, First Presbyterian Church, but he was way older than me, obviously.
Yeah.
I did tell the story of when I was a baby, I got to be the baby Jesus in the play that he was in. So me and him have some history.
That's right.
That's good.
Both stars of stage.
Right. So it was awesome to kind of catch up with him. But yeah, we just like to do things like big things in the community, talk about sports. We do live streaming of sports. Which has been cool, man, because I kind of got out of high school sports after I stopped playing them. I tried to coach a little bit, but I didn't keep up. I just stayed with the team I was coaching. But to like see the league that it's in now, I don't think I've ever seen as much parity as there has ever been in the SVC this year. I'm obviously Uniota won it again, but the whole season we definitely thought it was going to be some other teams that would win. In football, they won, but it was like a lot of close games. We had a lot of big games. We had a lot of upsets this year. Like we just had one on Monday. Westfall definitely was favored to win Piketon, and Piketon beats them in sectional semi. So it's helped me get back into the great sports and the great athletes around Southern Ohio since we started it.
So how did that kind of come about? I mean, are you just there's two other guys that are on the show with you, right?
Yeah, there's 5 of us total.
Okay.
It's me, Adam Cottle, and Tony Belmonte. They're on the cameras with me. Then behind the scenes, we got Andy Milano and Derek Borland, who previously did D44 Films. He's actually still doing that.
Yep.
Great work. He has.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, he originally did the SVC network.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was in high school, it was just me and some buddies, and I was sitting around, and I was like, man, like, how cool would it be on Fridays if we had like a college game day, but like for us, and I was like, and like fantasy football, like I feel like that'd be awesome because like we have some studs around here. So my first year out of high school, I actually started an SVC fantasy football league, me and Andy, and it was just us being idiots. We tried it. It was a lot of fun. So then I tried to like talk to some people, like, hey, I got this idea. I think it'd be good. But then I kind of realized like, not a lot of people are going to listen to an 18-year-old kid about fantasy football league for SVC.
For other teenage kids.
Exactly. Yeah. So after I grew up a little bit, and I was kind of in life figuring out what I wanted to do. And I kept thinking about this idea, and I was like, man, like, I feel like there's a lot of good coverage for the SVC and for Southern Ohio sports, but I feel like there's not a better way, but a different way for some other people. Because I feel like there's a lot of people that do like, for it to be, I should say, like professional, and like you would see it on like actual TV, and there's definitely an audience for that. But for me, I like the Pat McAfee's of the world. I like it to be exciting. I like it to be riveting. You definitely don't know what we're going to say. So that kind of stuff. So I just called Derek Borland up one day and I said, hey, I have this idea. I can't really get anybody to bite on it. So I'm just going to come up with my own. And I was like, I want to do a game day every single Friday before the football games. And then for basketball games, we'll do something like that. And I want to have a show every single Monday. Talk about the SVC. We don't talk too much about, like, we'll talk about college basketball and football a lot because we like that. But we realize none of us ever played the pros. Why are we talking about the pros? You know what I mean? I can't tell you what LeBron's thinking. I'm not nearly that good. So we just try to keep it to that kind of stuff. And, the first year really was for us a success. So we would do the game day shows. We realized we couldn't do it on Fridays, just like a little too much so we do it on Wednesdays pre-recorded and then play it on Fridays before the game. And we were like, oh my God, people are showing up. Like we actually had the students showing up. we did a lot of cool things. We just talk about, the SVCs, the games before, and then we'd do a pick 'em, just like you'd see on College Game Day.
Yeah.
And then we'd make it fun with their students. We'd always have the quarterback at the end of the show throw from the 25-yard line 5 times. If he hits the field goal post, wins a free pizza for the whole student section.
Oh, wow.
But if he missed it, they had to split it with the opposing team student section.
All right.
So it could put a little pressure on there, make it more fun. Because what we realize is not a lot of students really go out to the games anymore. Like the student sections, like, kind of went away a little bit. So we wanted to bring that back, man, because that's high school sports. That's just making memories. That's some of the best times of my life and a lot of my buddies' lives. There's high school memories like that. So that's kind of where it came from and where it's going.
And then the show kind of evolved from that, right?
Yeah. So it really started in football season. I don't know if you guys know Dalton Black at all.
Yeah.
So he graduated from Huntington, went to Capital, and then he got diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma last summer. It was really sad, and we kind of just felt bad at Ride the Wave show, and we saw that they had a GoFundMe, and they're trying to get to 10,000. We saw it get to I think it was around 6,000 or 7,000. It kind of just went to a stalemate, and we were like, well, we've been doing this for a few months now. We're kind of getting a little bit of a following. Like, we can see if we can do something. So they're playing Uniota. It was their homecoming, and we were going to be at that game. So I was like, well, let's make a video of hey, if you raise this money, I'll do this. This money, I'll do this. Well, I'm from Paint Valley. We don't really get along with us.
Trust me, I'm married to a Paint Valley girl. Yeah, I know this story.
Huntsmen are not our favorites at all times. But, so I said, hey, if you raise X amount of dollars, I'll put on a jersey and call the game. Even more, I'll put on a full pads, pants. Even more, I'll run on the field. And I was like, I want to do something big. I want to make sure that it's something that if they raise as much money, you should do. And Derek Borland, my producer, looks at me and goes, why don't you get a tattoo? And way too quickly, I was like, yeah, that's not a bad idea. And so we shoot the video and it kind of gets done. I really didn't think about it. I was like, yeah, no, that would definitely get a lot of people. And so I go home and my wife, also from Paint Valley, I kind of told her and she looked at me, she said, you said what? And I was like, oh yeah, that it started to dawn on me.
Suddenly.
It's like an Ohio State fan saying he'll get a Michigan tattoo.
Yeah.
So that raised a lot of money and we realized, man, we shouldn't just sit around and just be a show if we could do stuff like this. So my wife, she's from Clarksville. Well, not from, but she lived in Clarksville, Tennessee for a while. And they just got hit with those tornadoes. Yeah. So we did I don't know how to call it, a relief kind of thing. We got canned goods, some clothes, some blankets. One tumbleweed was huge for us on that. They actually gave free queso if you went in there and donated. Westfall and Paint Valley local schools were also some hubs that we had for people to go donate. I had a 2040 Econoline van packed in the back. I mean, it was awesome to kind of go out there. So I went down there and we did that. And then now recently we have the Ride the Wave benefit concert coming up.
Yeah.
Addison Edgington. I don't know if you guys all know who that is.
So I do, but just for everybody that's out there listening, certainly tell the story a little bit because it's a fascinating story.
So I was just scrolling on Facebook one day and I saw just a local teen from Circleville got in a car accident. I didn't really see anything else. I just kind of saw that and I was like, that's really sad. And I kind of kept scrolling. Well, then it kept popping up and I kept reading more about it and how she was just a freshman. And, I know it doesn't matter, but she was really good. She was a starter. And that team was undefeated. So I was like, man, I just kept thinking if I was a freshman and then that happened because it was very, very serious. I'm pretty sure it was life threatening from what I read, what I saw. I mean, from what I've been seeing from her mom, Megan's social media, she's going through the things of just learning to walk and live an everyday life again. And 3 months ago, she was dominating the basketball court. And I was like, man, that's just, I couldn't imagine if that was me. Yeah. And I don't have kids, but even if that was my kid, I couldn't imagine that. And I was like, we can do something. I don't know what it is, but we can do something for her. And me and the guys were kind of talking and we actually went and called a Huntington versus Piketon girls game. And we took 772 out there and we're coming back and we crossed Creekside Occasion, which is where the benefit's going to be at. And I said, oh my God, guys, we should throw a benefit concert. Because I've always wanted kind of a concert music festival thing in Chillicothe anyways.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, let me kind of get the logistics of it. And I reached out to Creekside, and they were more than happy to let us have the benefit there. I mean, they've been above and beyond about helping us. And then I was like, I can't really MC something like that. So let me call in the great Lori Graves.
There you go.
So she's going to be there and have some comedy. We have an amazing lineup. If you are big into music in Chillicothe, you'll probably know some of these bands. And if you aren't, you definitely need to come listen to them. We got a Peach Jam. They're going to be opening up. They're pretty new in a Garage Fire. They're very, very good with Seth Harness and some of those guys out there. Then we have Lori Pritchard. She's going to be like the middle act there. She's one of the best solo acts, I think, around here right now. She's very good. And then after that, we have the Basement Collective with the Davidsons and Jesse Mitten and all them in there.
Ben True. Yep.
Yeah. And then Stateside Red, they're really blowing up right now with some originals. And then our headliners, Moose Miller, who's just at the Majestic. Really, really excited to have him. We actually just had him on the show, the same episode we had Ben on to kind of talk about it. So, and it's just $5 admission. We're having a silent auction. We actually have some good silent auction stuff. We got a free oil change. Who doesn't need that? And then we have some autograph stuff from Dick Vitale there, like a basketball, some books, a picture, a lot more silent auction stuff. We'll have some food trucks, and it's going to be good music, good vibes, and all the proceeds are going to Addison for her recovery, because anything to help. I knew we could do anything to help, and this is how we want to do it, and we're really excited about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the thing that I think stands out about your show is what you're willing to do outside of the realm of what you do on the show, right? It's one thing to get together and be knuckleheads and talk about sports, right? Like, I mean, I did that for a while too. We were at the Gazette. We did kind of a game day show. We always taped it the Wednesday, and then
was it like called like the round table?
Yeah. We did all that. Yeah. We had a blast doing it, but the thing for us was like, we just couldn't sustain it over time.
Right.
But it also felt like it was a little ahead of its time. Like, we didn't get a ton of downloads. Now it would be perfect.
It would be,
but now it would be
right
another voice.
Alley.
Yeah. So, but I think, it's one thing to just get together and talk about sports. Another thing to be a part of the community and to build community around it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that I really love about it.
Yeah. It's because, I mean, man, I grew up here. I promise you, I've tried to leave, and it just brings me right back in. I was in the military. I moved down to Florida. I went to Missouri. I went everywhere, and there's just no real place like Chillicothe. I mean, there's other small towns out there. Don't get me wrong, but I always say the history here is weird yet amazing history. Yeah, and then like just the way that the town feels, and I feel like not a lot of people that live here actually kind of give it its due. I feel like sometimes like, I'm from Chillicothe, but like, man, when you like what we've seen, just the people that have come together and the few things that we've done to help somebody that they might not even know. Yeah. But they're like, man, like they're a part of our community. I can give something. I can do something like just to help out. It's kind of been amazing to watch because, I've lived a crazy life. I kind of got to see how great this community is early in my life. When I was in 8th grade, I was in the same class as Ethan Nisley and Nate Minnie and all them from Paint Valley. And man, when that happened, that whole gym was packed for 3 days. Yeah, I remember. Just rallying around those two families. And it was just some, like right then and there, I remembered I was like, I am from a very, very special place. Yep. And I feel like our show is just a show to show everybody else how great this community is. And it's just cool to us that we can just talk to when you watch the show, it is not very good. Like, we'll tell you that.
Let me stop you there because I think we would, just speaking from our frame of reference, we don't, tell people that we're the most polished podcast in the whole world. We literally sit down and talk. Yeah. Right? And for us, I think one, it's helpful because we don't have to spend a lot of time doing editing. Right. But I think the other part of it though is we want it to be real and organic. Exactly. Right. I don't want people to look at our show and be like, oh, Clay's clearly acting right now. Like, no, what you see on my show is what you're going to see with me at Kroger, is what you're going to see with me at a basketball game. Like, it's just me. Yeah. And
when I'm talking to like Dante Jackson, and I mean, Humpty Hitchens was my idol growing up. Everyone in Chillicothe at my age wanted to be Humpty Hitchens.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, Ben Hartsock, I don't have to explain that one. I mean, when we're talking to them, I'm like a 6-year-old kid talking to my heroes, and I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to be excited. And we had Ben, and I asked him, I said, hey, man, we normally do 15 minutes. If you have 15 minutes like that, would be awesome. He was on our show for an hour and a half just because the conversation was good. And I was like, I'm not going to cut Ben Hartsock off. You can stay here the whole show if you want.
Well, when we did ours, we split it into two.
We asked with Ben, we asked the question about NIL.
Yeah.
And he's like, you might as well stop this podcast and let's start a new one because it might be a while.
Yeah, that's kind of what got our train rolling. And I was like, because I was always like on the, the players are getting paid. But I was never a college athlete. So I was like, that must be cool. And when Ben explained, I'm like, that actually makes a lot more sense because it's not really college football anymore. And I was like, and what he said is like, you're kind of getting away from the traditions and everything like that.
Yeah.
It was crazy to hear him. He told a story about in high school, like before his senior year, he was just so amped up for the season that him and I think it was Neil Hoops and somebody else, they camped on the football field. Yeah. And I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah, I was watching that episode before you came.
Yeah. So. And I was just like, man, like that was just genuine, like guys like, hey, I don't care about anything. I just love football so much.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how it was when I was in school. And I try not to, I'm only 27, but I try not to be the old back in my day kind of guy.
Right. Yeah.
But like, it's just, I feel like you can see it. And I don't think it's really the kid's fault or anybody's real fault. I'm not here to put blame on anybody. I'm just here to get it back to the good old days. Yeah. That's all I want to do.
Well, and I think you what you're yearning for is not necessarily a day. It's more of a mindset, right? Like, I know this, that when I played basketball when I was in school, and I'm a runt, I mean, if you think I'm skinny and tall now or short now, trust me, I was much slimmer and much shorter then. So like, I try to tell people like the thing that kept me going, even though I didn't play a ton, was I just loved to play the game. And so like every time I got my 2 minutes, I was going balls out every time, because it was 2 minutes that I was not sitting on the bench.
Exactly.
And so I think, for us, and this might be getting off the track a little bit. I think part of it is kids are playing year round now.
Yeah.
Whatever sport it is, and maybe multiple sports, it's hard to sustain love for 4 sports year round.
Exactly. Especially like if you're like a lot of the kids that aren't like, say it's football season, but they're playing basketball. Well, they play basketball all week. It's the weekend. Like they probably want to just sit at home and chill, which, I was blessed with my dad. He was a realist and he kind of just let me know like, hey, don't just get wrapped up in one sport. Like do them all, like live. Like he said, I'm not telling you can't go play college sport. You can't go to the pros, but it does take a lot of work. And I always loved him for this. It was Syracuse versus UConn. And I was in like 8th grade and I was kind of slipping up in school. And I was like, Dad, like, I'm going to get a scholarship. Like I'm gonna be okay. Like every kid thinks. And my dad, he was pretty good himself at basketball. He pointed to the guys at the very end of the bench. And he was like, they were stars, like state title champion stars at their school. So like, if you want to, like that, there it is. There's the bar for you. And I sat there and I was like, that's not for me. Yeah. I was like, and you guys had Dave Shoemaker on here. I was when it came to sports, I was never the best athlete out there. I felt like I could hold my own, but I wasn't going out there dropping 20, 25 points. I mean, I didn't really have to. I had 4,000 point score starting. But I understood my role. I understood, I was really good at passing, which was good for me playing with scores. But I was like, somebody has to stop the other team. I'm not good at anything else. Why don't I do this? Yeah. And I just kind of bought into my role and took that head on. And I feel like that's kind of what you were saying is like, man, I felt like I wasn't the best player out there. But when I was out there and, our student section is going crazy and our stands are packed, for me, what I got the most out of was the other team hating me. Yeah. I love to play the villain, talk to the other crowd.
I just saw a post that you made a couple weeks ago about, I think it was when you played, was it Peebles?
Yeah.
And you posted it, and literally the people that you are guarding were commenting on
Yes, they still hate me down there. That's our claim to fame. In my senior year, we went down to Peebles. They were ranked second in the state,
Yeah.
19-0, Bo Justice. I have all the respect for that man in the world. Probably top 3 basketball players I've ever played against. But man, it was just our mindset of they can't beat us. You know, we went down there the Wednesday before and they beat, I think it was like Manchester. I mean, they were by like 40 when we left. And we were like, man, like we can beat these guys. But like no one gave us a chance. I mean, I don't remember what was big back in the day, but I just remember everybody saying, like, you know, People's is good, but I don't know if Pay Valley, you know, is there yet, blah, blah. I mean, again, 19-0. Bo Justice had like 2,500 points.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could score that many.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, they had it like on the wall already.
You could give me 12 years. I couldn't get that many.
That's what I said. I was like, I was averaging 2 points a game,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm like, for 25, like, I don't understand. But no, it was just the epitome of what Dave Shoemaker implemented in that program and implemented to us was like, just outwork them.
Yeah.
So what we did was we face guarded Bo. And I mean, when I tell you, I could have told you what he ate for breakfast 3 days ago. I mean, I didn't leave him. I mean, we were annoying. Their fans hated us.
Yeah.
I mean, me and my buddy Trevor Medley, we were kind of like a tag team there. I was the brute guy. I'd beat him up a little bit, and then he would come in and just run him to death. And so that's what we did. And we would watch like Dennis Rodman and all the great defenders back in the day. And what we noticed is like, man, like when they go to it's like a free throw and they're going to talk to the coach, like they're over there.
Mm-hmm.
Like wherever they go. So we just did that. And people asked, like, did we trash talk? Not really.
Yeah.
But like I would talk like, hey, what'd you have for lunch? Hey, what's your favorite video game? You know, I was trying to make stupid conversation because then he's more
is this
thinking about,
guy?
what is he talking? We're in the middle of a game and now he's not focused on scoring. And so, just I know I kind of got off topic there, but really what I take away from that is, you know, Dave Shoemaker, he's been a big part of my life. And he's kind of why I am the way I am, because he really implemented to me like hard work, keep your nose on. My mom and dad were huge in that too, but I feel like everybody always needs that outsider.
Yeah,
know? Like
absolutely.
your mom and dad can only do so much, but then once you start hearing it from somebody else, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Starting to kind of click for me.
Yeah, they drive it home for you.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, you know, the point that your dad had was actually just illustrated here recently at Texas Tech for the girls program there. The women's basketball team had a bunch of injuries and so on. And so finally somebody had an idea. Look, we just got to have bodies. I think they had 7 players for a game. They actually had to cancel one game because they were only going to have 5 or something like that.
Too many injuries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they said, well, let's just do a call. And they found just in the student body alone, 6 different women that had played on state championship teams.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
like, man, we should do this every year. Just
Yeah.
have like some open tryouts or something. Like,
And I mean, nobody's saying that they were all starters or whatever, but like that just tells you the level of depth.
you win a state championship, you know what you're doing on the floor.
Exactly.
Whether you're good or not, you can get through a game.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you one thing, man. I was definitely part of the wrong side where I couldn't really get into women's basketball when I was younger.
Mhm.
I love women's basketball nowadays.
Yeah.
My uncle, he's a big name down in Missouri for women's basketball. He's actually, I think it's called Walnut Grove is where he's at now. They're like doing really good. First in their bracket and everything like that. But I went down to watch him in the Final Four my senior year. We got eliminated districts, went down and watched him. And they were playing a team that had a recruit from UConn. And I said, hey, which one is it? He goes, I'm not going to tell you. You'll figure it out. And so the first quarter happened, and they're actually pretty close. I was like, I don't know which one it is. The second quarter, this blonde-haired girl came out and dropped 20 in the quarter. And I was like, oh, my God.
I think it's her.
Yeah. I was like, I found it. But what I realized there is like, man, like men play a lot more sloppier.
Mm-hmm.
Women, like if you want to know how to run a set and the fundamentals of basketball,
Yeah.
go watch a girls' basketball game on almost any level. I mean, it is insane to watch. And if you want to watch it, you don't have to go far.
Yeah.
When you go watch these Uniota girls right now, these Adina girls, I mean, Miley Smith and Maris Betts, that Uniota girls team is one of the best, not just girls team, basketball teams I've seen since I think I've been alive.
Yeah.
Like a few. I mean, they're the real deal. And so that's another thing I like about this show is it's put me on to more things about sports that I thought I would never want to watch or even think about.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, well, like I'm a sports podcast. I should at least try to watch this. And now I'm like, man, hockey is elite.
Yeah.
Like, I never even watched hockey. So as a sports fan, it's definitely fueled my hunger for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because like my son played basketball this year in 7th grade at Chillicothe, and he's really into the NBA.
Yeah.
And for years I have said, oh, I can't watch the NBA. I'll watch the NBA 3 times a year. Opening night, Christmas Day, and when we get to the finals.
Yep.
Because it's the only time when you actually see people that actually want to be there.
Yeah.
right?
They're playing real basketball. Like,
Yeah, and then they finally played some defense.
Yeah.
Don't
Especially-
watch the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Go
Oh my
defense.
gosh. Don't even get me started on that. I watched the first quarter. I watched about 8 minutes, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm done."
I just watched the 3-point contest and stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's fun.
That's the one that they're actually competing in. I said, make it like baseball, man. That's the only way you're gonna fix it. Whoever wins gets home court advantage in the finals.
It would change it.
People would actually take it serious.
That's what it did for baseball.
Yeah. And then, I mean, you look at the crazy thing is, though, if you look back at like late 90s, early 2000s with like Michael Jordan and Kobe in the All-Star game, it was a game.
Yeah.
Like they played, like it was, and it was kind of cool because everybody's like, well, you know, they don't play defense now, so they can have cooler, flashier plays for the All-Star. And I'm like, well, if you look back, when you play defense, it forces the offense to do cooler things to get the ball somewhere else. And in the All-Star game, they can try it because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, so whether like, I mean, White Chocolate, he tried the elbow move, and then I saw Halliburton try it in the All-Star game, and I was like, yeah, if there's defense, that thing was getting picked up and dumped the other way.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's what's been hard for me for the All-Star game. And I think the NFL is kind of trying to figure theirs out with the flag football.
Yeah.
I think that will actually take off a little bit more with the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever like
that
people can
makes
do
sense.
that, they'll maybe figure it out a little bit more, because I thought flag football was like, yeah, it's football without pads. But I guess like there's a lot of different rules that you can do.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I just didn't have the time to look up.
Well, and the flag guarding rule alone is weird.
Yeah.
You know, like, because my son played flag football down in the annex a couple years ago. And I was like, wait, they like threw a flag for flag guarding. And I was like, what did he do?
Yeah.
And they're like, if you bring your arms below your waist, it's considered flag guarding.
Yeah,
I'm like,
so that-
what?
It's like you can't. It's like you're defending yourself from being tackled.
Yeah,
I'm,
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, buddy. If I can't pull the flag, I will tackle you.
If you want a challenge, go watch a girls lacrosse match.
Yeah.
The first one, my daughter Caroline decided she wanted to play lacrosse in high school and jumped on the team. And I went to my first game and had no clue what was going on.
Yeah.
And the whistle blew 5,000 times.
And
they
you're
kept, the girl just shot the goal and she got called a penalty. And I had to learn what shooting space is in the girls' game. If somebody steps in front of the shot, that you're not supposed to take a shot because of protecting their face. And things. And so it's called shooting space. You have to give the shooter space. So that was the call. And these girls just jump in front and they blew the whistle a million times. And I'm complaining. And this woman beside me, she says, "Hey, I'm gonna help you out."
Yeah.
And she explained that one rule to me.
And
I'm like, "Who are you?" And she was a recruiter for University of Miami.
oh wow.
Miami of Ohio. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm here looking at watching a couple of the players."
Yeah.
And just understanding the rules. So some of those new sports, once you know the rules, was really enjoyable.
Yeah.
To watch.
I tried to watch women's lacrosse once when I was a freshman at Chillicothe. I went there one year. One game, and I was like, what is this? Like, I really want to get behind this because it looks like it would be awesome, but I might as well have been in Spanish class. I didn't know
And you can't compare it to the boys lacrosse because the rules are completely different.
Yeah.
For boys versus girls.
Well, I've not watched it enough to know, but
Yeah.
I had
It's
a
a great
similar
sport,
experience with soccer, which I know is near and dear to your heart,
Oh, yeah.
Marty.
I've been getting into soccer. My dad actually, my dad was early riser, I guess, but he didn't really sleep a whole lot at night. He maybe sleep like 4 hours. So when he started waking up and he would watch the Premier League because it was the only live sports on at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And so he kind of got into it. They kind of got me onto it. I'm like, wow, I have been missing out on some soccer. So,
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's a good sport.
it was, man, I got to give it to my dad. So I think you guys all know my mom, Jana Archer. She was awesome. She was a teacher around here.
Mhm.
I feel like being raised by her and my dad, who was a teacher and a salesman, is kind of like why I am the way I am.
Yeah.
But man, people would say I am my dad's twin.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was near and dear to my heart. And I think that's why I got big into basketball is he was over in Indiana. And for those who don't know, Indiana high school basketball is Texas high school football.
Yep.
And when he played, there was no Division 1, 2, or 3. It was the whole state of Indiana. It was like Hoosiers. The whole state of Indiana is a tournament. And when you're the state champion, like you are the state champion. And so, and he was from Brownsburg, Indiana, which Gordon Hayward's actually from.
Yeah.
So that's big Gordon Hayward guy over here. Never met him. If he's ever on my show, I know I made it. But I went to a few Indiana basketball games when I was a kid. Actually, they won the state title a week after Chillicothe won.
Oh, wow.
So we watched that game. We go over there, and I got to my dad was always telling me how good he was, and I was like, yeah, whatever. And then when you go over there and see the banners and the trophies, you're like, okay, Dad knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And so, funny story, he'd always grow up. He always told me about this guy named Sean that he was friends with. They played AAU basketball. They played Gus Macker together. My dad's stepdad was like a big AAU coach. And so I went over to my dad's house. We go every year for the Brickyard for NASCAR. And about 10 or 11, I could kind of understand more about the sports talk and stuff. They kept saying Sean. I'm like, Dad, who's the Sean guy? It was Sean Kemp. My dad was playing basketball with Sean Kemp. And I'm like, you guys just refer to this guy as Sean.
Yeah.
How did you expect me to know what was going on? And then that was another one where I was like, okay. And then my grandma started pulling out pictures. And so I guess Sean's parents didn't live near where they lived, but wanted him to be on that team. So he was staying at my dad's house over summer. And I'm like, this would have been helpful information.
Yeah, right.
Like growing up.
Yeah.
So my dad, when he was telling me basketball, it was about the only time I ever really listened to him.
Yeah.
He knew what he was talking about. But he was a big influence on me because, man, I love music. I love traveling. I'm actually in a band, Acid Puppy, with Seth Harness.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're we tried to start out as a Grateful Dead cover band, but then we realized we like too much of not just Grateful Dead. So we do a lot of classic rock. But my dad, he was a deadhead. I mean, he would go to California for the first show and follow him to the last show. And it was some of the stories that he would tell me, it was just unbelievable. About the culture there. Because he told me it's kind of like stepping back in the Renaissance Festival where if you didn't have money, that was kind of okay. Like if someone had food and you had water, you could trade and that would work. And I'm like, I don't understand how that works. So he passed away a couple of years ago. And so the Dead and Company did their last tour last year. And I looked at my other buddy that's Deadhead and I said, we got to go. So we get in. I was like, we'll go to the Arizona show and then we'll just come back and we'll hit the Indy 500 because that's where we go every summer. We got to Colorado for 3 or 4 hours. It was beautiful. And I opened my phone and I was like, well, the first show of the tour is tomorrow. And we were only 17 hours away. We just drove 17 hours to Colorado. And we hopped right back in that car and drove to LA. And we followed the Dead from California to Arizona to Texas, stopped at the Indy 500. And then we came back and we were home for a couple of weeks and went and saw him in Cincinnati. And I took my dad's ashes down there and I spread them during the concert. And it was really cool. But the main reason I say this story is if you're an athlete, don't think that you just have to be an athlete.
Yeah.
I grew up and I was playing piano. I was playing sports. I was trying anything and everything just to try it. And the reason I bring up my dad is because he was a huge influence in that. Because I talk about the story about when he said that. That's not where that conversation ended. I can promise you that. That's when he looked at me, and by that point, I was playing piano for 3 years, and it was kind of coming natural to me. And I was getting good at talking to people, and he's like, you're good at a lot of things. Don't just think you have to go play sports because everyone around you that's their dream. Make sure you're doing what you like to do.
Yeah.
And that's when I kind of sat there and I was like, I don't think I'd want to play sports because then I couldn't do this, I couldn't do this, and my wife would tell you it's hard for me to just do one thing. I got to go. I got to try everything, and it's a big test of my dad. I call it being raised by two hippies.
Yeah,
that's what happens.
It's great advice. First of all, because I do the same thing with my son and my daughters. They all have their own niche, right? And Marty knows this with his kids too. They all have their thing. Walker's is sports, but he's also an incredibly intelligent guy. He has far surpassed his father. Trust me. He must get his brains from his mom. But, so I've told him you could be a lawyer, you could be a doctor, you could be an engineer, you could do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And he's kind of settled on, maybe being a lawyer, but I also know he's in 7th grade, right?
Yeah.
So I'm telling him like, hey, learn a trade or learn, it's not going to hurt.
Yeah. That's what I liked about where we have Pigway Ross, your sophomore year, or at least for me, like they come in and kind of let you know, like, hey, if you don't want to go to college, we have this out here. And a lot of my friends liked it because by their senior year, they're going to school and making money. And I was like, wait, what?
Yep.
So, and I always thought that was cool because, and Ben talked about it on the show, they would go to Pigway Ross, they learn the trade, but they would still come back. They'd go to practice.
Yep.
They were go to the games. You just didn't see them at school anymore. And so I'm like, that's what I've always strived to be. It's hard for me. I tell people this. It was hard for me from about 19 to about 25 to keep a job because not because I'd hate where I go, but I'd be doing something and then I'd hear about something else. I'm like, I wonder what that's like.
Yeah.
So I would go over there and try it. And so it's just something that I've always liked to do is just travel. I mean, like I said, I got that 40 Econo line. I put a flat screen TV in there. It has like a futon couch thing, has a seat in there. I mean, it is made to travel. When I went to Tennessee, I took that thing. I just drove till I couldn't, pulled over, slept, and kept going. So,
that's amazing.
Yeah, I test that to my dad. Like I said, it's travel to the best.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. And obviously, you feel like the show is going to continue to, and you're going to look for these opportunities to try to help the community as well.
Yeah. So we've actually kind of realized that's our niche.
Yeah.
Not niche as in like we might be the best at it. This is definitely the first time I put a benefit concert on, but we definitely get more viewers for doing a live stream of a game. We get more viewers doing the show. We love doing the show, but what we realize is like when we're done doing stuff like you're talking about, like helping the community, like we just kind of feel better about ourselves. So we've decided, this probably isn't going to be the last benefit concert. We're probably going to make this an annual thing. And then just around that time, figure out who we're going to give it to and what it's going to be for, just because A, who doesn't love a good music festival?
Yeah.
And B, who doesn't love a good music festival for a good cause?
Yeah. And there's no end to causes.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's right. It's what we found out is once we're done with one, we're on to the next, ready to look for the next one that we're going to do, just because, man, to me, and not just me, I for Tony, Adam, Andy, Derek, like they're on board with it just as much as me. As it's just why have a platform and do nothing with it? You know what I mean? Like, and it doesn't always have to be raising money for causes or anything like that. I listen to a lot of podcasts that just help people, like, hey, mental health, like make sure you're checking on yourself. Hey, make sure this, make sure that.
Yeah.
Like, just helping out people and bringing on people to help other people, and we're like, it would be a waste for us because honestly, we didn't think anybody was going to listen to our show.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I feel like that might be how everybody's like, man, when you start a podcast, when you start a podcast, you're like, man, you start kind of thinking like, who kind of cares what I have to say? And then like, what happened to us is we went to Uniota for one of the game days. And I was like, we're Ride the Wave show. We're just trying to do, and the like 3 or 4 people like, oh yeah, no, we know who you are. I was like, what? They're like, yeah, we watched the show. I'm like, you watched the show? Like,
yeah, that's kind of a big deal.
And I was like, well, where did I think those 3 people views were coming? No, I'm just kidding. But it's been awesome, man. It's I like it because you definitely get put in some situations in the show business where it's fight or flight. We were doing a Piketon game, and this is when we realized we couldn't do game day shows anymore because it was raining, and we definitely didn't have time to set it up. We were just trying to figure out how we're going to stream the game. And it got to the point where we were like, maybe we won't do it. And I just turned around because from the Navy, I could get a little bossy, believe it or not. And I was like, guys, we are streaming this game. I said, it's week 2. We're not going 2 weeks in and falling apart. And I'll give it to Derek, Andy, Tony, and then we came up with an idea, and by kickoff, by God, it was on and it was streaming. So, and I couldn't do it without those guys. I mean, when they bust their tails, it's not easy.
Yeah.
I mean, he has a kid and has another one on the way, and so like he doesn't have a whole lot of time. But Adam, the guy that's on the show, he actually quit his job in Louisville to move back up here because we feel like we have something special. We feel like. There's a lot of sports podcasts out there, especially, for our area. There's a lot of ways to cover it, but we feel there's no way of covering like we're covering it.
Yeah.
Whether good or bad, it's just different, and that's what we just strive to be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and I couldn't do it without those guys. Man.
Yeah.
We have really bonded a lot. We actually got shout out to Dante Jackson. He got his like floor seats to go down to see Xavier a couple weeks ago when they played Creighton.
Yeah.
I have never had seats like that in my entire life. And we did not belong.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, it was.
I feel that.
Yeah, I mean, I showed up in my Grateful Dead shirt I have on here, and like they're all like nothing against Xavier, but they were all just like pretty nice.
Oh, yeah.
They not their first rodeo there. I walk in, I see this kid. He's like 7 feet tall almost, and I'm like, "How's it going, man?" He's like, "I'm just here on a recruiting visit." I'm sitting next to like one of their big recruits, and I'm like, "This is." I started going like, "Yeah, this is the best arena in all of the nation."
Yeah,
I was
you're
like,
recruiting for him.
Yeah, I was like, "Don't worry, Dante, I got you guys." But it was a good time, man. And every single time we do stuff like that, we're like, "Man, we're just 5 idiots talking about sports on a podcast." So
yeah,
it's definitely been a long, strange trip for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. So let's talk about just one last time here. Let's get the info out about the concert.
Yep.
Give us all the details on that. And then also tell everybody where they can find you, if they want to watch the show and everything else.
So it's going to be at Creekside Occasions, March 9th. It's going to be from 12 to 9. So you have plenty of time to get out there. If you miss one band, there will be another. It's going to be, like I said, Lori Grace is going to be our MC. And we're going to have Mackenzie Rudinger also out there for
another
some
Paint
comedy.
Valley person?
Yeah. So they're going to be out there for some comedies in between the bands. Well, like I said, we'll have a silent auction, and we'll have like a raffle as well. And we have a loaded lineup with Peach Jam, Garage Fire, Lori Pritchard, the Basement Collective, Stateside Red, and Moose Miller. Moose Miller actually is coming out with a single next week, so hopefully he'll be playing that there.
Perfect.
We got food trucks. Christopher Cologne. I don't think he has a name for his food truck. He just has a good food truck.
He does have a good truck.
It is delicious.
I mean, I'm going to request the burrito tacos. They are unbelievable.
And we'll also
his pizza's good too, but
yeah, we'll also have I think it's called the Anchor Ship.
Anchor
Bistro.
House.
Yeah, they'll be out there as well. So we will definitely have some good eats. And it's not just gonna be music. We're gonna have some cornhole set up. We're gonna have some games for people to kind of walk around and enjoy. And like I said, that silent auction has some loaded stuff in there. Man.
That's awesome.
It's gonna be awesome. And again, all the proceeds are going to Addison Edgington and her family. And it's only $5 to get in. We want to charge basically like what you would go to see a high school basketball game.
Yeah.
Just make it nice and easy and for people to go out there. If you want to watch our show, we're on YouTube at Ride the Wave Show, Instagram at Ride the Wave Show 2023, and on Twitter at Ride the Wave Show 2023. So we have a TikTok. We don't post a whole lot. I don't know how to work that stuff, man.
Yeah. That takes too much work, right?
It does. I'll say though, those reels, if you ever watch somebody that makes reels, give them a shout out. Those are no joke. I help out with Derek on those, and a 30-second reel will take me about an hour.
Yeah.
It's insane, but I'm a perfectionist, so I got to get it right there.
I was just having this conversation with somebody at Wagner's tonight because that's where we did our business after business. And I was like, hey, you're the person from the Wagner's TikTok.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, yeah. And I was like, who does the TikToks for you? She goes, oh. And she pointed to one of the bartenders there. And I said, oh, so you're like the TikTok expert. I said, how long does it take you to do one of those? She's like, oh, literally like 15 minutes max.
Yeah. Well,
and that's only if I have to do edits. And I was like, good Lord, that would take me 2 hours to do.
So I might be 27, not technically inclined. I'll tell you that right now. My fingers are too big, so I can't ever really see sometimes, like when I'm editing. But it does help me when people want to talk about the show because I've watched it so many times back doing those reels that I can actually remember what we talked about.
Yeah. Well, before I let you go, I only have one real big sports related question for you. And it's this. If it's a fill in the blank, the next basketball coach at The Ohio State University is?
I'm going with McDermott from Creighton.
Yep.
A lot of people are saying Sean Miller. For me, talking with Dante and, watching Sean Miller's podcast, I think where he was at Xavier before, went to Arizona, not the greatest things happened there. And then go back to Xavier. I feel like he's found like a new home there. I think that's where he'll probably be. But, the McDermott from Creighton, his name's getting thrown around a lot. And
got a huge win last night.
Yeah. And I don't know
if
Creighton might be a little too small for him now. I think his name's kind of getting big. He's been really consistent there. And I actually saw the SVC Sports Talk. They put something out the other day, and they said, "Is Ohio State's basketball job really a big time job anymore?"
Yeah.
When you think about it, your gut reaction, honestly, is saying no. But with UCLA coming in, USC basically going to a big conference, you get the right coach in there. It can be like, look at Alabama right now. They're number 4 in football. They're number 12 in basketball. They're in a dogfight right now with Florida. I was watching it before I came over here. So I think it is still a big time destination, but the next coach needs to be the right coach.
Yeah.
I'm a Butler fan. I was kind of hoping Holtman would go in and do good. And I just feel like I don't think he got the recruiting aspect at Ohio State, because one thing with our show is Gary Williams. We got to have him on.
Oh, yeah.
And we talked with Shu, and he kind of made something realize to me. He's the only coach in Ohio State history, football or basketball, to leave and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
She was like, you either get fired or you retire there. And I was like, wow, yeah, that's kind of crazy stat to think about.
Yeah.
It's funny, Gary Williams, when you hear him talk though, he left to go back to his alma mater in Maryland.
Yeah.
But loved Ohio State.
Yeah. He was really torn about it.
Yeah. He really loved being there, loved the program, loved the school, the community.
A lot of people say that if he stayed at Ohio State, that 2000 national title for Maryland is at Ohio State, because Steve Blake and all those guys probably go there. But it's like, kind of like you said, it would be like if I was coaching somewhere in Pay Valley, for some reason called me and was like, hey, we want to go. I would almost have to go.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that's why, and I feel like too, you almost coach better if you're from somewhere that like he loved Ohio State, but he was from and played for Maryland.
Yeah.
And it's one thing, because you can go to Ohio State like, hey, we're Ohio State, this is us. But when you go into Maryland, like, you lived it, you breathed it, that's who you really are. So when you're saying it, the message kind of gets picked up a little bit more. So to answer your question, I would definitely think McDermott is going there. If not, keep that interim head coach in there.
All right. So what about Chris Mack?
I don't think so.
So I didn't think it was coincidental that the weekend before they fire Holtman, Max everywhere going, hey, I'm ready to coach again, guys.
Yeah. So because the crazy thing was the Xavier Creighton game that we went to, Chris Mack was there as well.
Oh, no kidding.
So I say Sean Miller won't go there, but if I'm dead wrong, which it would be another tally in the wrong part. It happens all the time.
Happens very
Especially
rarely.
when you put a microphone in somebody's face. You're wrong a lot more than you're right.
Right, exactly.
But I wouldn't be surprised that if for some reason Sean Miller does go to Ohio State, for the Xavier to do what they did with Sean Miller, to put Chris Mack right back in there.
Yeah.
I don't think Chris Mack should have left Xavier in the first place.
Yeah, me either.
I think he should have stayed there. I think he did what every coach kind of does is like, hey, let me go try the bigger job. And sometimes it's just not that it's just not for you, but maybe just succeed better. Xavier, man, the Centos Center, it really, I was kind of tugging on my butt down there to the recruits. It was my first time there, but it was rocking.
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, it is.
That's like UC's new arena is really nice too.
When you go to like a Xavier, like Ohio State basketball, I don't think it's not like football where like Michigan and Ohio State's a huge rivalry. You go to Xavier, though, you're part of one of the biggest rivalries in college basketball with them.
Absolutely.
Cincinnati.
Yep.
So that's why another reason why I think Sean Miller might stay there. But yeah, I think Chris Mack, if it's not McDermott, is definitely in there. But I think if I'm Ohio State, McDermott, what was Creighton without McDermott?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, and if you think about it, when Holtman was hired, it was him and McDermott.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And so now it's one of those where, you get two girls, you pick the wrong one. I hope the other one's still interesting. So I think that they put all their eggs in that basket. But if you look on McDermott's side, he's probably like God at Creighton. He's probably never buying a drink in a bar for the rest of his life there. So that to me is like, well, I would go to Ohio State for a new challenge. Like it's ready. I'm ready for a new challenge because he's not an old man. He's.
Well, and while we can sit here and argue about whether or not it's a plum job anymore or a primo job, you can't beat the resources of the place.
No.
You can't beat the atmosphere of the place. When that basketball team wins, they are just as into it as they are for football.
Yeah.
Now, it may not be the level of football, right? Because football is always going to be king at Ohio State.
No, that's what the president said. The new president said football is king.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the factors of it's a good good state for basketball. First of all, a lot of these guys are going and playing other places.
Yeah.
So the first thing to do is capture your in-state
right.
talent.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the same
And
thing.
Ohio State hasn't been good at that in
No,
the last
I
40 years.
think honestly, it's crazy because there's a lot of kids around here. Like I feel like that are good that would want to go to Ohio State.
Yeah.
I feel like Holtman just wasn't recruiting them. And I want to ask you: it was the St. John Arena, right?
Yeah.
I feel like they never should have left that place. I feel like they should stay there because I'm one of the guys, and I think it's just from me being from Payne Valley. The smaller the gym, the better the gym because you can have half the people in there, and it feels like it's smothering. I mean, why do you think Cameron Indoor is such a hard place to play? Because when you're taking the ball out of bounds,
You're
they can touch you. Like you're in the student section. So that was my thing. But like you said, I've been to Ohio State games where it's packed in there. So it can still get loud. I think that Ohio State fans are wanting basketball to be good, you know, because, you know, Holtman, he was a tease, man. He would come in the beginning of the season and he would start off hot and you're like, man, they're looking good. And then like halfway, like the wheels would fall off the train. I felt like almost every single season.
Yeah. Well, so the story that I always tell about how the potential of Ohio State basketball is this. When Jim Tressel was hired, they did his press conference. What's the first thing he did? He stood in the middle of the basketball court and said, when we play Michigan next year, you're going to be proud of this team.
Yeah.
And I mean, that tells you at that time, Ohio State basketball was pretty good.
Yeah.
And it tells you that still holds a lot of prestige for people in Columbus and throughout Ohio.
Ben Hartsock said he was at that basketball game in the student section. He said, it got wild. And I'm pretty sure they even won that game. And it's just like, it's like what you said, man. I feel like with the success that the football's having, there's no reason they shouldn't transfer over to the basketball. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
and they've stepped up their game from an NIL standpoint.
Yeah.
I feel like the last couple of years, they were just kind of dabbling in it.
Yeah.
I think they felt like the name of Ohio State should have been enough.
Yeah.
Because think about it this way.
Back
for
in the
football,
day, it was.
And for the most part, if you go to Ohio State, you're going to get noticed and you're probably going to get drafted. You might even get a chance to get drafted or sign as a free agent that you wouldn't.
Yeah.
In
Just
the
because
past.
like, well, he was good enough to be a Buckeye.
Yeah.
I'm going to take him over this like 2-lane left guard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So like, I think you're right. They kind of just left that as, well, the best thing we can sell is the prestige of Ohio
And then
State.
you see what they've done this offseason from the football side of things with NIL and said, all right, we're in the game now.
Yeah.
And we're going to show you why we are the best. And so now you see like the SEC crying about we need reform and we need all this because the Buckeyes have stepped into the game.
Let me tell you, as a Notre Dame fan, we're still trying to be like, well, yeah, we're Notre Dame. Like, no one cares anymore.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true.
I'm a Notre Dame fan.
And look, I think it's that way for Alabama and Georgia and Texas too.
Yeah.
I think, like ultimately what it's going to come down. I mean, you even see the NBA saying, we don't know that we're going to continue this G League Ignite team because NIL is going to take all the players, because right now they've got 2 30-year-olds on that team.
Yeah.
And Norris Cole is one of them. He played at Dayton Dunbar and then he played for the Cavs.
Yeah.
Like,
and as much as like the NIL to me, I feel like I just go back and forth on it every single time. But I feel like the one good that we can say is like it has the chance to bring back why college basketball is so great and college football is so great. Is people stayed for 3 or 4 years.
Yep.
Now, if you're in college and you're getting paid like kind of like Caitlin Clark, it's like, well, I go to the draft. I'm probably making more money here in Iowa. I know I'm on a good team. If I get drafted, I'm literally going to the worst team in the league, because I'm going to be a top pick. And so I feel like that's why women's college basketball, men's college basketball, we can get things like Christian Leitner. Why was he hated? Because he wouldn't leave.
Right.
He wasn't that guy to leave.
You felt like he was there for 8 years.
Yeah, Grayson Allen. I'm like, this guy has to have 4 doctorates at this point. I hate that guy. So that's one thing I'm getting out of the NIL is I feel like we're definitely going to get more of rivalry basketball. I just want it to be, you can't just leave, man. Like, I'm at Nebraska one year, then Ohio State the next year, then Purdue the next year. It's like, yeah. It's
well,
almost,
the interesting thing though is when you have the NCAA president basically telling the coaches to stop whining.
yeah. He's like, you wanted this, here it is. It's
So
like,
here's the thing: he knows that the NCAA was in a really bad spot, right?
Yeah.
The O'Bannon lawsuit created the situation that we have right now, and so what they basically did was they were like, we have to create a system. We're going to create this system. Now, I don't think he's naive enough to think it doesn't need some reform to it, or
Right.
at least some changes. But at the same time, he's like, shut up already.
Yeah.
You guys can leave whenever you want.
Yeah.
And those kids got to stay. They always had to stay.
Yeah.
Now they have the same
As
freedom as you do.
Yeah.
Suck it up.
Because I always said, like, even before the NIL, if you go to a place and then your coach leaves, that's different. You should be able to go somewhere else because you basically got lied to. You know, you basically went and got car sailed. You know.
Well, and there's a lot of guys that were literally signing in February, and then, you know, at the end of February, these guys are leaving.
That one recruit went from Ohio State to Nebraska, Ohio State to Nebraska, and he was like saying, like, I'm committed here. I'm like, I don't know if you guys know what the word committed means. It's like,
It's a different term.
Dylan
Rioli.
Well,
what's it?
Of course, he went to Georgia.
Yeah.
and
then
literally switched on the day of.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean,
Nebraska. When you get a new quarterback, it used to be we got this new freshman, and now it's like, hey, we have this new 30-year-old.
Yeah.
He's kind of graduated from Oklahoma State, but he's coming here now.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
and we love him.
Yeah.
And we love him. He's the guy we wanted all along.
He's the future because I guess now it's the future because he has one more year of eligibility.
That's right.
Like it's crazy to see the people that have been playing for like 9 years in college sports.
Yeah,
Like,
everybody got the extra year because of COVID. That's
Yeah.
going to run out next year.
Yeah.
So.
Well, see, we told you that we were just a sports podcast.
Yeah, I
told you
These guys.
wanna be.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
A wannabe sports podcast. When Mike and I started talking about the podcast, the first time the conversation was, Mike, we either need to start a sports podcast or we need to do this highlight like all the great things that are happening in our community. And we landed there, but in the back of our minds, we were still like, man, it'd be fun to do the sports stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why we had you on.
Heck
It
yeah.
was all
And
an elaborate
it's
ruse.
easy for me to talk about sports.
Yeah,
And that's why we had Ben Hartsock on.
That's right.
I'll tell you what, man. Ben,
He's awesome.
he is an amazing person to talk to.
Oh, he's
And,
fun.
like,
What a conversation.
It was awesome for me because he was using some words, and I'm like, I'm just going to act like I know what that word means, and I'm going to use my context clues real quick. And I'm like, okay, here we go. We're back on the same. And it was crazy to me because they were like, yeah, he was like, I would be the one that go out to like talk to the press and stuff like that. And I'm like, see, Chillicothe, Ohio,
That's
face
right.
of franchises.
That's right.
So-
Exactly. Well, hey, thanks for coming on, man. This
has been fun.
as I mentioned, I think what really you identified your niche and you identified it perfectly. You're more than a sports show.
Yeah.
You're a community force that just happened to be talking about sports. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you very much.
Hey, it was awesome to come on here. I've listened to a lot of podcasts ever since Dave came on. I was like, man, this is a nice podcast. So
Well,
thanks.
it sounds good because of Marty. That's all. All I do is show up and talk. So.
Same here, man. I do not touch the equipment because I'm like, if it breaks, I know it's not my fault.
Do they do the same thing he does as Sir? Just stand back away, please, from the electronics.
I always
Don't
ask
touch the stuff.
just so I know I can say, hey, at least I asked, and you said no. But yeah, Derek, he's our producer, man. He
Yeah,
does
he's
some great
amazing.
work. We would not be anything without that guy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
Yep. Well, again, man, thanks for coming on the show. Best of luck
awesome.
with the concert,
Thank
and keep doing what you're doing.
All right, man. Thank you guys, and same to you guys.
Thanks.
You're listening to the Feels Like Home podcast with Mike Throne and Marty Ford. Powered by Horizon. This is big. This is gig.
It feels a little strange, but I don't feel alone. We just settled in and it all